Hi everyone, it's Cash Monet, and today I'm going to show you how to edit a K-pop video. You may be asking how qualified I am to edit a K-pop video. You're only a drag queen, you only lip sync and dance on stage, but if you didn't know about me, which I don't know if you do, not only that I've been filming K-pop videos since 2017, I also dance in them. So I kind of have the perspective of both as a dancer and as a videographer. So let's get started. I think that was good. For reference, these are the settings of my equipment. I am using Premiere Pro. I have a Panasonic camera. I shoot in Cine Light D. And I kind of underexpose everything. If you want to see all of the software that I use, I do have an Amazon storefront, but honestly, you can get cheaper camera equipment elsewhere. It's just a nice universal place that this list can exist. So you just finished filming your K-pop video, and if you want to learn how to film a K-pop video, maybe I can make a video on that. Let me know in the comments. And you've chosen your select. So you've chosen the clips that you want to edit in your final video. So you imported your clips onto your software. So I'm going to drag that into our timeline. And then you're going to move your audio files of those clips down and put the main song on the first row. And this is my first time making a Premiere Pro tutorial. Like, I know how to do all these things, but I've never actually explained it before. And then with your other clips later in the timeline, you're gonna put them on different layers. So luckily with this cover, I only have 2 clips, but your video can have more than 2. So if you have a third one, you can just put it on the 3rd row. Just make sure that none of the clips are in the same row, if that makes sense. Then you're gonna select all your clips. So you're gonna select the audio clip and your video clips, including the audio of those clips. You're gonna right click and then you're gonna go to synchronize. Then you're gonna click audio and it should be track channel 1. They're called tracks. Okay, I'm learning. So what this does is it takes the first clip, the music, and then it's gonna sync up the other clips to it. It is kind of an important step because you want to make sure that your clips are in sync. And just to double check that they're in sync, I like to go into the timeline. And it seems pretty in sync. Sometimes you can make it a solo track. Mute this track. Yeah. Supernova, Nova.
Baby smarter, smarter, baby smarter. I'm not from New York,
So now that your clips are in sync, it is now time to trim off the excess. As you can see on our timeline, we have at least 30 seconds of footage that we don't need. And then after, we also kind of have some weird adjustments here. So for my personal preference, and because we kind of have a pre-roll for our video, I like to put a couple of seconds of just environmental noise, or maybe people are screaming or clapping, and you kind of want to put that in there to set the scene, you know? You know when you start a movie and there's a setting, you have to make sure the setting is there first before you get into the real plots of your video. So I'm gonna trim the video and I'm gonna put just a little bit of audio at the end, just so we can hear it and it's a bit more smooth, so there's not just a harsh cut. And then I'm gonna fade in, fade out, fade in, and then I'm gonna really zoom in and I'm gonna match the fade. It doesn't get too severe up in here with the audio. And then at the end, let's also do the same. Let's kind of match it up. So we're gonna just end it where the music ends. Since we do have one cut, which is one clip goes into the other, you get to decide where in the music you want to cut it. Sometimes people like to cut on a beat that includes if you want to go from the beginning to pre-chorus, pre-chorus to chorus, chorus to verse 2. Or some people like to cut more on an off part to make the cuts more seamless. That's all kind of a preference thing and what's going on in the video. There's not really a wrong answer on where to cut. It just what makes more sense. With this one specifically, because I filmed it, I know my own vision of what I wanted, and I know I wanted it to cut at Miles's foot and transition into the next dancers. So this is more of like a make it seamless, but also it is kind of on a cut. So this is kind of like both. If I play it here, you can actually see the other dancers are not even dancing the next part. Let me see if I can just play it out. Because I filmed it and I knew that I was gonna make a cut there, I didn't even need that part. So let's actually make sure we match it. So right at the kick, tap. So let's play that out. Okay, this is my thing with cuts. Like if you're gonna make a cut from one thing to another, you don't want the cuts to be in the same distance. Because we're kind of like in a full body shot here and then it cuts to another full body, Miles jumps in the screen and it looks kind of weird. If I wanted to make these cuts a little bit more dynamic, I would have filmed Miles closer and then the next cut would be further away so the cuts are more varied and it's like there's a cut here. But since we're doing more of like a seamless transition kind of thing, we're gonna be editing that instead. So let me find a place where the camera is moving on both clips and then we can kind of use that instead. It's kind of like a TikTok transition where the camera's moving and then it moves to another location. It's kind of, it literally is that. Okay, let's see it right now. Okay, it's not perfect because there's more editing that I have to do there, but it's usable. Oh, and also if you did a one take, then you don't even have to worry about this part of the video. So now that you've synced your music and trimmed the edges, you can totally stop here. I filmed in kind of like a gray format, and if you filmed in like a regular color format, your video can honestly already be uploaded already. But because I want people to be kind of wowed and impressed by the videography as well, I like to add a little bit more kind of like sparkle into the video to showcase like people's solos, to have some varied camera movements, to really show off like the formations. So like let's add some editing magic. Ooh, this is my favorite part. So if you notice on my software, I have these kind of like lines on the preview screen. It's because this is kind of marking where center is. So I know the size of my video and it is whatever size this is. It's in 4K, so 13840, is that right? I think that sounds right. So I want a half 3840 and that's 1920. Yeah, that is right, that is right. So that vertical line is setting where center is. You're not gonna do this with like a music video, but like K-pop dance and any kind of group dance thing is like very formation heavy. Just setting center, even though you don't have to follow it all the time, it's just good to have. I also have a few vertical lines here. This top line I use as my kind of eye level. Whoever's in center, this is where I try to have their eyes at all times. Because if you change the eye level in different cuts, let's say, the viewer's eyes are gonna get strained on where to look. If you keep the eye level throughout the whole video, the video is gonna be less straining on the viewer. Guidelines, add guideline. So then you can put your position on where you want it to be. So if you know the exact number you want it to be on, and you can even put a color. So, okay. So once I have where I place center, I'm gonna go to Workspace, Editing. I'm gonna click on our clip that we're gonna be editing. And then I'm gonna go into Effect Controls. In Effect Controls, you're gonna see kind of like your clip right here and video, motion, and then there's position and scale, and I'm gonna click the toggle animation button. And that's gonna put some markers on where your video is gonna be. I'm gonna zoom in on this timeline. Yes, there are more timelines in this, it's a lot. So this right here is kind of like your secondary timeline, and this is your timeline for your specific clip, while down here is your timeline for your whole project. So right now I have made 2 markers, and this marker is these numbers. And if I zoom in, it's gonna keep that marker until I make a new marker for it to follow. I made this one 150, so I'm gonna zoom out. So if I play it, it's gonna go from 112 to zoom in to 150 as the video is playing. Because we added that kind of digital zoom, it makes the video a little bit more exciting because it's like, wow, we're zooming in so fast when it's both kind of in-person zoom and digital zoom. So as you can see here, it is not center. So I'm gonna do a very, very tight zoom. I'm gonna move my clip so Miles's face is right on that crosshair. And then I'm gonna go a little bit more. So now as you can see, Miles isn't on the crosshair anymore. So I'm gonna kind of follow it. I don't say you have to do this with every clip. I think it looks good. And also it's fine to be really zoomed in here because they're not really doing anything. Like they're just kind of standing there. So the real focus grabber is like the zoom and the very extreme close up on the face and that first initial meet with your dancer. Oh. See, that's why you have to make sure you check your work.
Some kind of supernova.
Supernova. Watch out.
Look at me go.
See, and then at this next part, I would say zoom out because now everyone is included in the dance. And just like that, well, I didn't like when they put their arms down and then how cut off the side people were. So maybe we can even bring it down even more. And just like that, we have made this kind of like awkwardly far kind of footage into a really intense close-up of our dancers. And you're gonna be going through the whole clip. A little trick that I like to do on Premiere when I do this is I like to go to New Item, Color Matte, press OK because that's the size of our screen. And I wanna make a color matte that's a really vibrant color, like a hot pink. I'll press OK. I can call it Color Matte Pink. And then I'll move all of the clips up one, and then I'll put the color matte under our video clips. What that's gonna do is when I'm doing like this editing process and I'm like, oh, this should be zoomed out a little bit more. Like if I zoom out too far, it's gonna show the pink in the back. If it's really small and really minuscule, like sometimes it's hard to catch. I just put that under as like kind of a safety to make sure that I'm not having any black space when the video plays, because I have edited a few videos where there was black in them and I was very sad that I didn't catch it before. Embarrassing! So this is just kind of a little hot tip if you're editing videos like this, especially if you're doing a video with lots of zoom in and zoom outs. So another big thing with K-pop cover videos is that sometimes the color of the video is like so saturated. There is no contrast, the saturation is all the way up, HDR is popping off. I film my videos for color in mind later. If you want to go in depth about colors and LUTs, there are a ton of YouTube videos explaining what that even means. I don't know what that means, and this is just what I do. How I do coloring on my K-pop videos is I go to New Item, which is down here, and then I click on adjustment layers. So this is kind of like when you edit on Photoshop, but you don't edit on the photo, you edit on like different layers. This is kind of like that. I'm gonna drag that into the timeline and I'm gonna put it above all of our clips. I'm gonna make it as long as our project is. And that didn't do anything because when we click that, we're gonna go up to our workspaces and then go to color. Our first adjustment layer is just making the footage look like how it looked in real life. I have already a LUT here that I have downloaded for my camera. I have a preset for my Panasonic Cine D709. Again, no idea what that means, but I'm doing it. I also, for myself, and because it was kind of a cloudy day, I underexposed my footage, so I'm gonna expose it up to where it was. So let's play this.
I'm like some kind of
supernova. I might put the contrast down, maybe even a lot. It all looks good. After I corrected the colors for real life, and then I go into more of the creative LUTs. So to do that, I put another adjustment layer on top. I make that the same length as our project, and then I go into my creative LUTs folder. I got these LUTs from another YouTube video. I'll link it down below. I literally just started using it last week. I go through the LUTs and I see which ones I want to do. I might choose one just for this video. I don't know if it's gonna be the final one, but let's see. Okay, wait a minute. Why is that one so good though? So with the creative LUTs, it enhances the mood of your video. Before we added the creative coloring, it looks like what it looked like in real life. It was cloudy that day. Adding that little filter turns it from a normal video into like a dance video with kind of like a mood and theming. And it also makes everything more cohesive. I want to kind of match the feeling of the music video, which is it's very dark, it's very cool toned. When I go through these LUTs, I want to think about like what kind of mood I'm going for. So I wouldn't go for like a LUT that makes it look like this looks like a G-Friend music video, which I'm not trying to make it look like. So we don't want that. That one's cute. That one's cute for not this one. All right, let's go with that first one. I got really lucky and picked one that I really liked in the first go. That usually never happens. Might be a little bit too blue, so let's just take out some of that blue. It's like a little bit too red, or a little bit too green, so let's take away some of that green. Okay, this looks great. So now that we've added the colors, I think we're done. You have made it through editing your first K-pop music cover video. Did you make it? Are you sick of the song? Honestly, filming these K-pop cover videos, it actually makes me a fan of some K-pop groups. I never listened to boy groups before, and I started listening 17 because I filmed a 17 cover. I think it was hot. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Or if you have any tips or tricks or anything that I did wrong, let me know down there too, because I am trying to learn as much as I can. People have been doing this for years, and I've only been doing it for maybe like 7-ish. I'm always trying to learn, girl. If you want to see the final cover, go to Sola's channel. I'll link that down below too, and you can see all of the editing that I put onto there. Other than what I've showed you here, I'm adding way more than you think that you saw today. So go check that out and leave a comment to say that you came from this channel, because give the editor some love. And also give them some love too. They're so good. Did you see that? If you like what you see, please like this video. Subscribe down below. I do a lot of K-pop content, but I also do a lot of P-pop content. So if you want to watch that, I might do more tutorials in the future. I'm not sure. But if you like what you see, let me know. And I want to give a thanks to all of my Patreon people. Because of you, I was able to pay for parking when I went to this filming. And there's a link down below if you want to see more of this. And sometimes Patreons even have exclusive merch that they get by me, that I make. And with that, I say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Huh? Why am I hot?